So this is my third dish on the seasonal menu. Now it's traditional for Scots to have steak pie on New Year's Day. So I'm using venison from the same deer that I butchered a couple of weeks ago for Christmas dinner and for the evening with the quiz night for the RNLI. So I'm going to do it in the slow cooker. I get my Ninja. Do it in the slow cooker. This is going to cook for a few hours. So we have chives. I'm going to brown off this meat with some chives, some garlic powder, not a lot, some mixed herbs. Sorry, I had a bit of a pause there because I was looking for the mixed herbs. So, like most of my recipes, I use a similar seasoning for everything. However, slightly difference in the way it's being cooked. This one we want thick and velvety to go into the fillings of the steak pie. So that's what we've got. Mixed herbs, garlic powder, chives. Start, you'll hear it sizzling. Just give it a turn. Generous chunks. And while that's browning, we'll prep some of the veg to go in. So we're going to chop up some shallots, and it doesn't need to be big, little chops. And we're going to stick that into the browning process. Big chunks of shallots, because this is all going to come, they're going to so that allow to saute while the meat is browning. Take that extra layer of skin off. So we stuck the shallots in there while the meat is browning. Now, because this is going in a pie, we don't need huge amounts of ingredients, we just need flavours. And if you notice, none of my venison recipes I ever use salt and pepper. People want to use salt and pepper after it's served, then I'm not offended, but this is quite a deep dish, slow cooker, so it doesn't look a heck of a lot, but trust me, there is a heck of a lot in there. So still letting that brown for a little bit. Right, so I'm decoring these. I don't usually decore mushrooms, because what we're going to do is we are going to half these and quarter these maybe, and we'll put these mushrooms in as whole as possible, but not whole. So basically, quarter big chunky mushrooms like that. It's all about a pie filling now. It's not about chopping it up and right, so now we're just going to do a normal red pepper. And what we'll do is we'll properly chop that. and properly chop this.
Oh, right, so you're busy right now.
Right. So we have peppers, we have mushrooms, we have our meat now browning. Now we're not going to drain any of this out. We're not going to drain any of that out. We're going to use that. So give it a good stir. That's our filling for the pie. So we're going to change. We're going to stop that from browning. We'll move out our stuff. So now we're going to prep it for the slow cook. So lots of onion gravy. We want this as thick as velvety as possible, and not huge amounts of water, but enough to just cover the meat just now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add to this later on. We're going to make it as thick and as velvety and as creamy as possible. We'll start off with the gravy while it's cooking, and through the process we might add a little bit of corn flour or something like that, but it usually doesn't need it. Going to stick it on slow cook. Now that's sauteed. We'll cook and we start. Although I put it on for 6 hours, it's probably only going to take about 4 hours. Cover it and leave it to cook. So we're an hour into the cook on the Ninja. Look at that, it's bubbling away. I've got to make sure the consistency is right because we need this for the... So a lot of cooking still to go, but as you can see, it's still a little bit loose. So we're just going to let that cook in a little bit more actually, but that is looking amazing already. Now you can do this in a pot over a stove and slow cook it that way into a slow stew, and then just make it into a velvet, and then you can add your stuff. But at the moment we're not going to add anything else. We're going to let this cook in for another hour or so and let it look amazing, because that is important. We're a couple hours in and it's still looking a little bit loose. So what we're going to do is add a little bit more gravy to thicken this up. Remember, this is going in a pie, so we need it just onion gravy. Now, it's weird. I opened this with the venison casserole I done for the RNLI quiz night, and I used this for the Christmas roast as well, and now went through a whole tub. So that just shows you I do use a fair bit, but not like a lot. So this is looking great. Big chunky meaty bits for the pie. And this will be encased in puff pastry, so in individual pie dishes. I might put a little bit of corn flour in it just to thicken it up a little bit, but we're going to leave it on for another hour or so and we'll check it then, and then we'll decide from there. Right, we're just about 3 hours in and we are pretty much ready for our filling. Nice and silky. I didn't need to put any corn flour in, just using the gravy. That has corn flour in it anyway. There's a fair mix in that kind of gravy anyway. It allows things to thicken up. Now, this is going to go into our pie shells, so what we'll do is we'll leave it cooking while we prep the puff pastry and everything. We're just going to have a wee look at the meat. Let's take a bit of meat and see how soft. There we go, how tender the meat is. So I'm just breaking this away with the fork. As you see, it is really quite tender. It's not chewy. It'll melt in the mouth. Beautiful looking meat. So this is like puff pastry, and yes, you can make your own puff pastry and whatever, and I'll prep them in these dishes, but to be honest, pre-rolled puff pastry is just as good as any other puff pastry, and we're talking about making these recipes easy, so that's what I'm doing, making these recipes easy. So now we're going to fill, give it a stir. Make sure there's plenty of meat. Take away some of the gravy, don't put too much gravy in. Always use the gravy for something else, for the tatties or whatever you want. We'll fill that generously, and then with each one of them we'll stick a lid on. So there we go, that's the pie filled. We'll keep the gravy. That is going to be to put over the veg, or if anybody wants any extra gravy. I'll put hats on these and then I'll put them in the oven until the pastry is golden brown and ready to be served. And then that usually takes about half an hour, 40 minutes. So at 180 degrees, and we are pretty much there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the three recipes, the three venison recipes that I've given over the Christmas period. I haven't done any kind of reviews over the period because I was waiting till after Christmas to put out the big reviews and stuff like that for the 65 D&T optics. And I've got a few other projects I want to work on. So I thought, Christmas period, instead of trying to sell you stuff, because I don't sell anything, I'm not a retailer or anything. Yes, I've got a few affiliate links, but I don't make any money from them. This is pretty much the real reason why we shoot deer. And I thought, well, I'll give you 3 different recipes over the period, the Christmas period, just so that they're nice and easy, nothing to stress over, and they're delicious. All right, have a good one. I'll catch you again next time. So there we have the pie already done, ready to go and to be put on plates. I always put some slices of puff pastry at the side so I can, as little hats. These are my tester slices so I can fully see when they're ready. Look how crumbly and amazing they are, which is perfect, ideal. Let's get it all plated up and ready to go.